Well, the Building Bridges initiative discourse is on. Of course, the clarion call being, read the BBI report for yourself. I don't know how many people will ever read the document, let alone making informed decisions or choices about its recommendations. Ours is a country of special democracy. Some call it guided democracy. Obviously, there will be one group of people or the other that will support or reject the BBI document, not on the basis of what they like or dislike about the report's recommendations, but purely on account of what their preferred or favorite political leaders have said. That explains why many scholars have ended up with many definitions of what democracy is or all about. Eugene Vidal says democracy is supposed to give you the feeling of choice, like painkiller X and painkiller Y, but they are both just aspirin, end of quote. The current debate on BBI has introduced an important dimension, the pursuit of an uncontested referendum. Some call it a win-win referendum, but is it a reality? The very thought of a referendum evokes feelings of a choice between two or more options. A question like, do you support the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill of 2020? That in its very essence attracts three choices, in my opinion: yes, no, or I abstain. My point is, will there be a scenario where everybody agrees with the proposed BBI report, or a unanimous decision rejecting the document? If that was the case, what would Kenyans be voting for or against? Anyway, I digress. I listened to speeches at the Bomas of Kenya on Monday and left thinking, some things are easier said than done. I also observed the singing and dancing on Monday. A very good image of top political players that was meant to rally the country together and unite the population ahead of the imminent referendum. But is it real and true unity or yet another facade? Here is my take. Let Kenyans engage with the BBI report, understand the recommendations, argue about them, analyze and critique and assess them, and eventually make a choice at the ballot. We should never, if we ever get there. And let the choices be free from blackmail and intimidation. Those who agree with the report and its recommendations must not be called dynasty or anti-poor. Those who agree with the task force's thought process should not be labeled slaves of status quo. Equally, those raising questions on some of the BBI proposals should not be waved away as non-reformists or enemies of constitutional changes. If we truly value democracy, there should be no place for profiling those for or against the document. In any case, wouldn't the majority have their way at the ballot, with the minority having their say? Ultimately, whether changes will be effected in the 2010 Constitution or not is a decision that will affect the entire nation, not just those who vote for or against the document. And we have two experiences to draw from. In 2005, when the orange vanquished the banana, the country lived with the choices. Again, for 10 years, we have lived with a choice made in 2010 when green cards outnumbered red cards. So let no position on BBI be rammed down our throats. Those who support the report's recommendations must be allowed to, while those opposed to should be left to exercise their right to reject, as long as those choices are made in an environment of peace, tranquility, and freedom. Abraham Lincoln, the late American statesman and lawyer who served as the 16th President of the USA from 1861 to 1865, aptly captured the kind of a scenario that Kenya and Kenyans again find themselves in this quote: "Elections belong to the people. It's their decision. If they decide to turn their back on the fire and burn their behinds, then they will just have to sit on their blisters." End of quote. So go forth and make your choices on BBI. And once done, be prepared to live with the consequences. That's my point.